So we'll be going over IRS notice CP10. We'll do the best that we can with this. As you can tell, it's been heavily redacted. We'll go through this with as much information that I was able to garner about notice CP10 offline. If you happen to have received notice CP10 and you would like to see a video with covering your form or your notice, please hit me up in the show notes, and we'll see if we can get a hold of a cleaner copy with redacted edits as appropriate, but maybe a little bit more detail available for the broader audience. So we'll walk through this the best that we can, but if someone out there has a better copy of this notice, I can definitely redo this video at a later time. So we'll start at the top right corner, the CP10 notice, the tax year, the notice date. I'm not sure why the tax year is redacted. Obviously, a social security number with the IRS contact number. Up here is the IRS office address that for some reason is redacted. This would be the taxpayer name and information address field. So I'll take a moment here to point out two things. One, pay particularly close attention to your notice date, because if there is an action item that the IRS expects you to perform, it may be attached to this notice date. For example, if you owed taxes, you might see something like, please pay this by within 10 days of the notice date. I don't think that there are any action items here that are specific to the notice date. I don't see that. We'll drill down in a little bit more detail in the instructions or when we get further down. The second thing that I wanted to point out is you should always keep your address up to date with the IRS. If you've recently filed your tax return, that's great. If you filed your tax return with your new address, the IRS is prompted to go ahead and update that with a new filing. But if you moved after filing your tax return, you may want to update the IRS with your new change of address. You can file IRS Form 8822, or for business owners, IRS Form 8822-B. We'll put links in the show notes to resources where you can get more information about those forms. But the vast majority of taxpayers do receive tax correspondence from the IRS throughout the year, and they may not be expecting it. So if the IRS decides to send correspondence, you want to be in a position where you're receiving it as soon as possible so that you can take the appropriate steps as necessary. So we're going to do a little bit of guessing here. These are changes to whatever tax form happened to be here. I'm going to guess that because they mentioned Schedule C down here, this is probably someone's Form 1040. They're reporting income, and in this case, there was a mistake that resulted in a refund, but they could not apply the overpayment as you requested because the IRS already processed your tax return. So, and they cannot apply a credit to a tax year for which a return has already been filed. So, my guess is they'll probably be issuing you a check. But here in the summary field, it would show how much you paid, how much you paid, the tax you owed, and then how much was applied to whatever estimated tax for the upcoming tax year, and then the difference would be a refund that the IRS owes you. So at the bottom of page 1 of this is a contact information field. Again, this is a blank form. I'm not sure why they're redacting so many different fields here, but you don't need to complete this if you file IRS Form 8822. You can also call the IRS, validate your tax account, and change your address over the phone. So on page 2, it kind of contains your action items. So if you agree with everything, just wait for the refund check. Your notice should contain the dollar amounts. So as long as those match, you should be good to go. You may receive a check for less depending on whether or not the IRS had to apply your debt to or your tax refund to some other past due debt. So that's called a refund offset, and that is authorized under federal law. So your refund check, if there's a difference, that may be the cause. So the other guidance that the IRS gives is making adjustments to estimated tax payments to avoid any underpayments in future tax years. You can always call the 800 number that usually is in your notice if you don't agree with any changes. And then here's the reason why the IRS changed your information. In this case, you reported something on Schedule C or Schedule CEZ. That's the sole proprietor's profit or loss for business. So that basically means the change in the profit or loss resulted in a change of the tax due. So under normal circumstances, you would be able to see all of the calculations here so that they would make sense. However, those have been redacted out. And there is a link at the bottom. Let's go ahead and click on that to see what it says on the IRS website, to see if, and specifically if there's anything different or any updated information. So a miscalculation affected the estimated tax payment that you wanted to apply for your taxes next year. There's really nothing new. There are a couple of frequently asked questions, so you can, expand these, and basically there's information about making your estimated tax payments, and then filing electronically if you need to. There's also a mention about the additional child tax credit. I'm not sure why that's in this CP10 notice without any other mention of the additional child tax credit. So, but in case that applies to you, I'll put a link in the show notes to some of the other stuff that we did about additional child tax credits. So that's about all we have. Again, this is the copy that's available from the IRS website, and for some reason they've decided to heavily redact this version. If someone out there has a cleaner version that we can redact personal information from but still use the rest of the notice, I'd be more than happy to reshoot this video for you. In the meanwhile, this is what we have. So we'll put links in the show notes to any resources that we've created about some of the forms and schedules mentioned here. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.